There's a trend on YouTube, and it's been going on for a while. I've noticed it over the past couple of years, where content creators, in their analysis of sitcoms, actually remove the laugh tracks from sitcoms to demonstrate that these shows aren't actually that funny, and a lot of times what you're queued up to laugh at aren't really jokes.
Where is the waitress? I'm starving. It's a buffet, man.
Here's where I win all my money back.
I gotta talk to you.
Sure. What's up?
Now, I'm really torn on this trend because on the one hand, I do find this incredibly compelling. I think from a psychological point of view, the idea that we're laughing just because we hear laughter, essentially because we're being told psychologically to laugh, is quite interesting. However, where I begin to break with a lot of these content creators' analysis is when they begin to ignore the fact that the laugh track is a key component in the sitcom's format. And anytime you remove any key component from something's format, you can't be surprised that that component was key to making it work. Just think about any really well done motion capture character from any movie or TV series that you've really enjoyed in recent history. If you took away the computer generated effects from that character, it would look ridiculous. You would see Andy Serkis most of the time in a leotard. No one would take you seriously if in your analysis of Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame, you said that the movie was bad because if you took away all the motion capture effects and the thousands of hours of rendering time, Thanos would look like this, and therefore would not be intimidating, and therefore the movie would be bad. No one would take that as a legitimate criticism because we all acknowledge to a certain extent that art takes time, and post-production is a part of art. However, there is something to be said, and it is an interesting train wreck to watch, when people are moved from one format to another, and they don't realize that there's such a big difference and they have an inability to adapt. Now, we talked about this concept a little bit in my video on Lily Singh participating for some reason in the NBA All-Star Game roast, and the fact that she was not changing her so-called comedy to fit the roast setting and, make it somewhat about the NBA.
I just came out as bisexual last year.
But that's because Lily Singh is a no-talent hack who's used to making YouTube comedy for 8-year-olds, and we already knew that because she had a complete inability to change her format to adapt to her role as a late-night host. But another good example of this was the Drake and Josh movie, and yes, I know I'm dating myself by referencing a Nickelodeon kids sitcom and the movie that followed it, but this was a movie that was based on a sitcom that was dependent on a laugh track that, despite the change in format and the absence of a laugh track that they would have had to have known about when they were writing this movie, they didn't change any of the jokes, and the movie completely fell flat, in my opinion. And now, during this crisis that we are all experiencing, we are seeing, as a bit of a silver lining, the same exact inability to adapt that plagued the Drake and Josh movie, that plagues Lily Singh everywhere that she goes, with all the other late-night hosts and their new shot-from-home style bits. We have Stephen Colbert in the bathtub, making absolutely no one laugh.
Hey everybody! Hi! Welcome to my bathroom. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert.
But to be fair to the bathtub, which did nothing wrong, Stephen Colbert hasn't been funny since he stopped parodying Bill O'Reilly. But we also have bad audio all over the place, as these multi-millionaires who are used to having everything produced for them don't even know that you're not supposed to use the onboard mic on your camera in order to broadcast your shows.
Welcome to Late Night. How's everybody doing? Wondering if soy sauce goes good on a rice cake? Yeah, me too. All right. In that case, let's get to the news.
But in my humblest opinion, which is always correct here on this channel because it's my channel and I make the rules, the worst offender, the biggest person who has failed to adapt to the circumstances is John Oliver. John Oliver's show is not funny without a live studio audience, and I've actually gotten crap from my audience in the past for saying that among the unfunny leftist comedians, John Oliver is not the worst. However, his show right now clearly is the worst because he has not changed his format one iota.
Now, is he my favourite infectious disease expert? No, of course he isn't, because that would be Salvador Matza, and it is amazing that for a man who studied infectious diseases his whole life, the only thing he ever came down with was a deadly case of bedroom eyes. Salvador, stop it. And look,
Do you see what he's doing there? He's pausing for laughter as if he has a live studio audience that's about to laugh at his jokes. John, you opened your show by saying there's no live studio audience. What are you doing? You just look awkward and your jokes aren't landing because they're dependent on building up laughter. Adapt to the situation, dude. Can you imagine if I did that here on YouTube where there's no expectation of a studio audience laughing? If I just told a joke and then paused and stared at the camera like John Oliver just did, expecting some kind of cue to go back to doing my story? Let me just try it for a second to see if it'll work. Orange Man, bad. Really, really bad. Really bad. Are you laughing? I don't think so. Maybe you are. And by the way, that's just one example among many in John Oliver's new audience-less shows where he's still pausing for audience laughter.
of a man who has just completed yet another substandard job after refusing to put in even the slightest bit of effort. She knows what I'm talking about. She definitely knows what I'm talking about. This joke is landing so hard with her right now. Asking Trump why he says things are fine when they're obviously not is like asking the wind why it whispers, or why the old redwood tree grows so tall, or why this corgi is so thick. That's just nature, baby. It is what it is. Which, by the way, is the rare instance of the word positive being associated with any experience at Mar-a-Lago. If your hair is bad, don't panic. Just let it be bad for a while. Yes, people may see it, and yes, it'll be embarrassing, but you will get through it. Trust me. Trust me. Hey, listen. Trust me. The virus continues to spread rapidly. We now have more confirmed coronavirus cases than any country in the world. Number one.
What are you doing? You opened these episodes by saying there is no studio audience to laugh at these jokes. Why do you have so many jokes that depend on building up laughter in your episode if you know for a fact that there is nobody there to laugh at them? Also, John has told basically that exact hair joke before on his program, and he's just recycling it in clearly what is a recycled format. Now look, maybe you think I'm being completely unfair to John Oliver in this situation because we are in an unprecedented crisis, but I have two amazing, downright stunning counterpoints that are going to make you say, yeah, I guess you're being sort of fair. I guess that's an okay point. Okay, let me hear the points. Point number one, a huge portion of the left-wing media take their cues from this guy's show. They have elevated John Oliver into some kind of thought leader. He's essentially the Kyle Kalinske for late-night comedy hosts. Just as a huge portion of the online left just regurgitate what Kyle Kalinske says uncritically as if he's some type of intellectual.
There is a lot of good news in this election, just so you know. Even with the Super Tuesday results, which, we weren't ecstatic about, but there's still data points that show that we're winning the war. We're winning the long-term fight. So every single contest where there was a vote, except for Arkansas and Utah, they did entrance polls or exit polls. And so you get a sense of where people are on the issues. In every single place, Medicare for All was above water.
Even though, overwhelmingly, again, his policies are really popular. In fact, one of the most black-pilling things about Super Tuesday was this poll that came out. In all of the states, they agreed with Bernie's healthcare policy. Yet in most of those states, Biden won.
And what people are clearly saying is, I agree with Bernie on the issues, but I don't know if he's electable.
That's what the normals and the boomers retain, is the electability scare.
The media does the same with John Oliver. Number two, this is HBO, and the show only is expected to air once a week. Now call me crazy, but I expect a certain level of quality from an HBO production. But also, unlike these other late night hosts, that are expected to be out there 5 days a week, John Oliver and his team have a lot of time to refine and tweak their format to better fit their new circumstances. I actually give these other late night hosts a bit of a break because they just don't have as much time to work out the kinks and put forward a show of quality under the circumstances that we all have to deal with right now. Look, I'm not going to overblow this. Obviously, this is an entertainment story. I'm making this video mostly for your entertainment. I don't know how long we're going to be under this lockdown, and honestly, I don't know what the impacts are going to be when it's all said and done in terms of loss of human life and the impact on the economy and for a lot of you who are out there in the real world. And while I'm extremely hopeful that at some point we all as a country will be able to go back to work and continue on with our daily lives, I am interested in what happens in the interim. I am interested in the adaptations that people will make and people won't make to the current circumstances, especially when we're talking about from an entertainment point of view. How many movies that are going to come out in theaters or were going to come out in theaters are now going to come out in some form or another on some kind of on-demand service? And will changes like that continue beyond the length of the crisis? Are we seeing the end of shows like Last Week Tonight with John Oliver and all these other late night shows that are filmed in front of a live studio audience? Are they going to start using a laugh track like they do with Lily Singh's show? Or are they going to change up their format and essentially become extremely highly paid on television YouTubers? And if you still think I'm being unfair or too mean to John Oliver, or my explanation wasn't as compelling as I promised, keep this in mind. I really used to enjoy listening to YouTube, just popping in the headphones and letting it autoplay when I was watching one of my favorite creators, or I had one of my favorite creators on. However, a change in the YouTube algorithm consistently means that they're going to keep autoplaying stuff I have no interest in. And not only that, they're going to autoplay the same video over and over again 657 times. One of those videos was John Oliver's show. And if they're going to keep autoplaying this trash that I'm not interested in, and I've told YouTube repeatedly with the dislike button and the I'm not interested in this button, then I'm going to start making videos about it because I've had enough of this nonsense. But those are just my thoughts. Hold on one second while I put this image on screen, then pause and look at the camera and wait for laughter. Are you laughing yet? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, then please show me by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on all my social medias. Yes, medias, for the guy who keeps commenting that the plural of media is media. If you want to support me, the links to do so are in the description box of this video. This has been me talking about John Oliver's show being exposed as not funny. Till next time.